Which one is it? Should I tag my commonplace binder stuff as a tour or a flip through? I think it should be a flip through because we flip through the thing. It's not really a tour. I feel like going to a school is a tour, but if you're flipping through something like this, it's more of a flip through. Just saying, I'm gonna answer it right at the beginning of the video. Which one is it? I think it's a flip through. Proper nomenclature. I don't know. So if you tell me what the proper names are in the comment section, that would be great. Quoting a book. I'm not quoting a book specifically for this. I don't have any information in my commonplace book, also known as a commonplace binder by me. I don't have any specific quotes on this. I think it's more of a flip through than a tour. So like someone can have a tour video or flip through video, but I feel like if they do a tour video, it has to have more of something else. But I don't know. I also kind of don't care. So if you do one or the other, good job. You made a thing. Sharing work. Yeah, I feel like one of them is doing the job of both of them. Like if you do a tour or a flip through, I feel like you can still do the other one, but like if you do one, it's kind of like doing both at the same time. Maybe not. So maybe the reason you're doing a tour or a flip through is you want to share your work. You want to show the behind the scenes. What's going on? What is going on? What is going on in there? One word. Commonplacing. Technically, that might be two words. I don't know. I have the commonplace binder 101. But that's just the playlist. I do call it the commonplace binder. I feel weird calling it a specific method. Like, I have the commonplace binder method. But yeah, I guess that's what this playlist is going with. Tagging a friend. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube in the commonplacing category where people are like tagging their friend. But they're mostly pretty old. They're mostly, I think they're all at least 3 years old. I haven't looked at it in a while. Remember, I did all the thumbnail stuff back in like November of 2023. That was a long time ago. So it might have changed. I don't know. But it seems like somebody would read a book and then be like, I thought this was cool. And then just like tag their friend. So I thought that was kind of fun. Common usage. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer a commonplace book tour or flip through? I don't know. I feel like I'm just going to do flip through pretty much regardless, unless it's like 90% of people prefer a tour. But I guess a tour is more of like you're looking through it and talking about specific things, where a flip through is more like you're just flipping through it. But I don't know. I have two very sloppy flip through videos that are going to come out. Well, for me, they're going to come out, but for you, they probably came out like months ago. So I hope those were fine. I think one of them was more fine than the other one. But I guess we'll find out. Or I'll find out. I don't know. I think we did this. I think we did that. Now it's time for this. Again. So hopefully when you quote things, you're not saying this guy, that guy, this guy again. Because playing the pronoun game can get quite difficult, even when you're not just like giving random people random pronouns. So pay attention to your quotations. Make sure everything makes sense. Moving on. Tag. This is once again talking about tags. So instead of tagging a friend, I guess we could talk about these tags. So I don't use any advanced tagging systems within my binder. So I used to have one binder as like an index, and then all the other binders were more of like a place to actually do the work. That sort of worked until I got to the point where I had over 800 active sections at the same time. And I think I was listing something around 950 to 1,000. I had eliminated, a bunch of things along the way. But it was just like, what am I doing? It got a little insane. Because how are you going to tag things? Are you going to tag things as only 4 categories? Well, that's great when you only have 4 things. But when you have 10,000 things, you probably don't want to have 2,500 items per tag. I'm just saying. But you also probably don't want to have 250,000 different tags unless you have a digital system. So if you're using a commonplace binder or a commonplace book, that is going to be a problem. But if you're doing this digitally, not a problem at all. Setup. How are you going to set this up? Okay, so in terms of setting up a commonplace book or commonplace binder, I have talked this through so many times. So what we're going to do this time is how do you set up a tour or a flip through? Well, people normally open up their book and they're like, wow, look at this thing in the front. Mine is, kind of messy and dirty, but, I guess you could take a closer look at that. Basically, I break things down into sets of 5, and it's just easier to find things that way. So I just say contents page whatever at the top. By whatever, I mean one number higher than the page before. When I'm not using something anymore, I cross it out. And one of the things I most commonly do is I cross out the thing at the very beginning, and I move that thing to the very back. So sometimes that section becomes part of another section, sometimes it ceases to exist, sometimes I make it twice as big, but most of the time I just make a small edit and I move it to the back with a new label and write. Sorry, it's very difficult to hold something this high. Basically, this is empty space, this is where the new sections will go, and when I need more, I just add a page. So it's very easy. You can set that up however you want. Commonplace book. So if you have an actual, official, real commonplace book that everyone agrees is a commonplace book, and you don't have to fight anyone for that, you know exactly where everything is because it is indexed in a very precise method that has been used for at least a century. I don't know. I feel like it's a tool and it's supposed to be used. And if you're going to use it in the way that people used to use it, where they would just have a notebook, and if you drop the notebook, it'd be fine. But you couldn't move the pages around or anything, or really add any stuff in. That's fine. That's totally okay. I think that's a very easy way for people to start. I don't recommend that if you're going to write the 10,000 pages or more, because I feel like that gets a little insane. Binder simplifications. So what is this thing for? Well, because there are no page numbers, I don't need an index. Oh, that is amazing. I don't need to write the page numbers. I don't need to add an index or a glossary or any other nonsense. Just the contents. Now, in an individual section within the binder, I might have sections that are just like random stuff. Now, some of the videos on that were actually very popular, which is really funny because my ideas videos, where I literally just talk about like whatever ideas I've had over the course of the last 3 days that I feel like sharing, those videos did really well, and those were so incredibly easy to make because all I did was I just looked through my notes over the last like 3 days, and I was just like, okay, fish, avocado. No, there was no avocado in there, but I don't know. Like, it was just random stuff, and people seemed to enjoy it way more than like the other stuff for the amount of effort. Like, when it comes to effort versus reward, the ideas category is just like off the charts. I mean, hopefully this playlist works as well. But what I'm trying to say is like, if you want to use a binder, but you still just want to throw stuff in, you can still do that. Like, it would just be listed as like one section. Or maybe you could even go without the contents page. I wouldn't recommend that because then it really is just a binder with a bunch of random pages in it. But, maybe that it could be fun at first. I don't know. Person's name. Now, I thought this one was really funny because like there's this huge gap here. There's no invisible ink. There's no secret message. I do feel like it's possible I might get a comment on that if I get more than 10 comments. So that might be kind of funny. Why does it say person S name? So there are a lot of famous people who have had a commonplace book. Basically, every famous writer from the last few hundred years in the Western world, specifically the English-speaking world, with the exception of people who have lived since computers have existed, because most people look at computers and go, you know what? I could probably use a phone or a computer or a tablet or literally anything else other than learning how to write, getting writing utensils, sitting down, writing, and then keeping track of the writing afterwards. It just seems like a hassle. So I could mention random famous people who've done this. But just Google that, okay? Tour. Wow, I wonder where the title came from. Tour and flip through. Now, it's kind of funny, these are both near the end. It looks like we are approaching the end. So if it's a tour, I consider it to be more of a look at specific things, whereas a flip through is comprehensive and not as detailed. So you're just kind of flipping through. But if anybody has a totally different opinion on that, please let me know. And I guess now we'll talk about the next video. My new entries. So, what's going on in my new entries? Am I just throwing stuff in? Like, hey guys, I have opinions about bacon. Oh, man. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. And maybe you could consider checking the next one. You know, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that stuff. Okay.